What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. The focus on this video is going to be on how to farm exotics in Destiny 2. One of the coolest things about this game for me is collecting all the exotics, but it can be challenging to not only get weapons, but also to get high stat roll armor. This video will focus on ways that you can farm these armor pieces and get some really good stat rolls. Now, we're going to look at three key areas. Number one, the exotic vendor Xur. Number two, the Nightfall The Ordeal playlist. And then last but not least, we're going to look at some of the older raids and how some easy encounters can give you some easy exotics. This video will focus on weapons and armor that can be obtained in basic ways. This will not help you get weapons like the Anarchy Grenade Launcher, 1K Voices. It won't help you get different quest exotics like Izanagi's Burden. But if you're watching this video, one of my plans moving forward is to every Wednesday help players get 1K Voices. So whether you have any experience or no experience at all in the Last Wish raid, if that's something you're interested in, make sure to pop into a live stream here on YouTube. I'd be happy to help you guys out. So make sure to like and subscribe. Come back for those streams every Wednesday evening. I want to try to help as many people get this weapon as I can, but this video will focus on how to get some of the weapons and armor that come from random drops. So let's jump right into it. We're going to look at those three key areas. And first, we're going to grab one more piece here from our buddy the Cryptarch. This was from a year one raid, so let's see what it is. It gave me Darcy, rip. I was hoping to get some armor pieces, but hey, that's the luck of the draw. Sometimes RNG is with you, sometimes RNG is against you. So let's jump right into the first part, the exotic vendor, Xur. For new players and veteran players alike, the exotic vendor Xur will be one of the best ways to get exotics each week in Destiny 2. On the weekends, he'll show up and he'll bring a variety of stuff, including one weapon and 3 pieces of armor. Within that, he'll have 1 piece of armor for the Hunter, 1 for the Titan, and 1 for the Warlock. Xur also sells a more expensive exotic engram. You can only buy 1 of these a week, and we'll talk about that more in one moment. If you look here at the armor he's selling, you'll notice first and foremost that the armor is rather modest when it comes to the stats that it has. So don't expect to get some very high stat roll armor from the stuff that he's selling directly. With that said, if you're a new player, my one piece of advice would be to pick up everything he's selling if it's not yet in your collections. You want to make sure that you buy everything you don't have, more or less. And the reason for that is tied to the exotic engram here. So in my case, if I was just starting out and I did not have the Knucklehead radar, even though I'm not a huge fan of that and I probably won't use it at all in PvP, it's in my best interest to buy this and have it in my collections. Because if you look here at the flavor text for the exotic engram, the idea behind this is this will give you something that is not yet in your collections. So that's really important. This will help you get something that you don't already have. And that's one of the reasons why it costs so much. Once you have everything collected, it'll give you a random piece of armor. Now, the key takeaway there is, if you get an exotic armor piece from this, it will be a high stat roll. So you can get something upwards of 60 or more stat, and that will be much better for making the build that you want for your character. So Xur will be one of the best ways by far to get exotics in Destiny 2. Now, like I said, he shows up on the weekends. Right now, he's over here in the Tower Hangar, but he also has been known to hang out on other locations as well. So each week on Fridays at Reset, you want to check and find out where he is. He can be in the Tower, he can be in the EDZ. He's also been known to hang out on Nessus, in the Barge, over in Titan. So Xur hangs out in a variety of places, and it is random where he shows up. So on Fridays at Reset, you want to make sure you find him, buy the stuff you don't have, and then also to buy that exotic engram. I know it costs a lot, but it is one of the better buys each and every single week for your legendary shards. So Xur will be by far the best way for new players to get a nice amount of exotics each week. But there are other things you can do too, namely the Nightfall The Ordeal and older raids to get exotics. Let's talk about those right now. No doubt one of the best ways to farm exotics in Destiny 2 is from the Nightfall The Ordeal playlist. You can find this within the Vanguard directory. Even though there's only 1 strike per week, if you look here at the different game modes, there are a number of different difficulty settings. You can have this be very easy at 750, up to the extremely difficult 1060 Grandmaster difficulty. As you progress through the difficulty ranks, you notice that the rewards become more common, especially for the exotic gear. Once you get up to the 1000 level, the exotic gear is very common. So keep that in mind here. This is going to be one of your better ways to farm exotics, is by playing the Nightfall The Ordeal. Now, I would recommend basing your difficulty off your situation. If you are a solo player, then you might want to hop into the 970. This is going to be relatively easy to get done. It is a match-made activity, so you can jump in, not worry about finding teammates. The game will do that for you. And even though the exotic here is uncommon, you'd be surprised at how quickly you can get some exotic pieces from this. If you've already gotten stuff from Xur and you have those in your collections, you have a good chance or a better chance of getting exotic armor, and those will be high stat level items. Now, if you have a fire team, then you can consider doing the 1000 for a more leisurely stroll. I would recommend doing this if you just kind of want to mess around and have a better chance of getting exotics. And if you want to increase that a bit further and have a chance for Ascendant Shards, then maybe do the 1030. Only do the 1060 if you're in it for the seal or the most challenging items, because honestly the rewards for that don't fully justify it as far as I'm concerned. I'd focus on the other difficulties if your goal is strictly farming exotics. So again, 970 if you're solo, 1000 for a fire team if you just want to have an easier time going about it, and then 1030, the master difficulty, if you want more of a challenge, and if you're also trying to get Ascendant Shards as well. So like I said, this is one of the better ways of farming exotics. You can jump right in. I was able to get some pretty good stat rolls from this, and like I said, I think it's one of the better ways right now to play, to get stuff done, and also to complete your exotic collection. Okay, so last but certainly not least, we have the old school raids from year 1. These are all the Leviathan raids, and you can find them over in the Nessus orbit. Now with these, they all have a really high chance of giving exotics from each encounter. I would focus more so on Eater of Worlds and Spire of Stars, because the encounters in the Leviathan are very mechanic based, and unless your team has some familiarity there, you may not be able to plow through them really quickly. For both of these, Eater of Worlds and Spire of Stars, I would focus strictly on the first encounter and then the secret raid chest. I wouldn't go through the entire raid each and every single week, but that's just me. If you want to do that, you can. But in terms of farming exotics, you can get these from the first encounter and the bonus raid chest. For Eater of Worlds and Spire of Stars, those introductory encounters are not very challenging, and then the secret raid chest is located in the encounter directly after. So that will be one of the better ways to quickly have a high chance at getting exotics from Destiny 2. All of these are year 1, so I believe that the exotics you can get from these are restricted to year 1, but that could be to your advantage. So if you're on your hunter like I am right now and trying to get a better stat roll Gemini Jester, this might be a better way of doing that because the loot pool will be a bit smaller. Same deal applies if you're trying to get a better pair of Stompies, Orpheus rigs, etc. If you're on your Warlock and you want better transversive steps, these old school raids have a high chance of giving you an exotic after an encounter, and because the loot pool is a bit smaller, you'll have a better chance of getting the one piece that you want. You can also do this too, as far as the raids go. You can also focus on doing raids like The Last Wish, Scourge of the Past, Crown of Sorrow, etc. And because those are year 2 and year 3 raids respectively, you'll have a greater loot pool. But a lot of the encounters for these are a bit more challenging in my opinion. That's the reason why I'm suggesting in this video to focus on the Nessus, focus on the Leviathan, and jump into these old school raids. I would even go as far as to say that you'd be better off jumping into the Prestige version, especially when the modifiers are a bit more manageable. These actually are some of the few content that have these loadout restrictions. At the time of this video, you had the kinetic shotgun, auto rifle for your energy, and rocket launcher for your power weapon for both Spire, Stars, as well as Eater of Worlds, but you had the Prestige Gladiator modifier, which is more player friendly too. Sometimes these loadouts will be a bit more restrictive, and sometimes you'll have a modifier that hurts you a bit, but by and large, because those first encounters are pretty easy to begin with, you can easily get done the Prestige version. That will give you double drops, and that will further increase your chances of getting an exotic. One of the best ways too, if you're lucky enough to have it, is use the Contender Shell. This drops from the normal Leviathan, and it will increase your chances of getting a year 1 exotic by a lot. Basically, every other encounter, it's a 50% chance. Every other encounter will be giving you an exotic. So if you have this, make sure you throw it on. I know it's a rare drop from the original Leviathan, but if you do have it, make sure this is equipped. This is one of the best ghost shells in the game, and exotics will be dropping like candy pretty much when you're doing those encounters. So I hope this video was helpful, guys. I know you can also get exotics too from your challenges. So anything that has a little circle next to it, that will have a challenge. That will give you a small chance of getting an exotic by doing your 4 Crucible games, your 4 Gambit games, etc. But in terms of farming, you don't really have a high chance from those. And these 3 methods, Zur, the Nightfall The Ordeal, and some of the easy encounters from the old school raids, this will be better, in my opinion, to farm exotics. So I hope it was helpful, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe if it was. Thank you all so much for watching, and best of luck getting the exotics you want and the stats you want on them. See you guys.